What's up? Welcome
Sun's going
back.
down, big guy.
Well, it's down here. There is no it's going down. It's down here.
No, that you missed the reference.
What's up? What's down?
No, you totally missed the reference.
Whatever.
I said the sun's going down, big guy. Brother. Friends off. This whole friendship started off of two core
Wait.
aspects of life, and you just nope. Cut the recording. We're done here. We're out. I'm leaving. Fuck this shit.
Okay, I need context because
This
otherwise
whole friendship started off of the love of two different things. There was only two things that created this friendship.
Marvel.
Yeah.
So is this a Marvel reference?
Oh my fucking god.
Dude, give me a break, man. Like I haven't seen anything in a long time.
Oh my gosh.
Dude,
Doesn't
suck
matter.
My dick.
Doesn't matter.
Suck my
Doesn't
dick
matter.
actually.
It's all in here. It's all right in the core
Well, in your core,
of the
You know-
DNA.
you know what I have in my core?
You literally were just talking about Chris Evans.
Was
Literally
that
were
him?
just talking. No, it wasn't him.
Okay, so shut up.
It was one of the Avengers movies.
Oh, okay.
I can't even believe this right now.
Yeah. Anyway. So what's up?
Shout out to the real ones who know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, whatever. Apparently I'm not a real one. So anyway, I did want to briefly say that Burgy and I are both sick.
Like actually,
Sick.
I got prescriptions this week. A fucking inhaler, fucking cough syrup, a whole ass antibiotic. Like for realsies, fucking sick. Luckily, my voice started coming back today. I was like, it's gonna be a rough podcast.
Honestly, like my voice sounds way better now than it did earlier today, but as far as like coughing and stuff, I may be coughing a lot. So I'm going to try my best to like remember to mute or just see, I'm struggling right now to mute or just go blank on the screen because it be getting kind of bad.
Yeah. It's that clear the bronchioles type of cough going on here.
Yeah, like almost puking kind of cough where you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like eyes watering, nauseating.
Mucusy cough.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mucusy cough. It's a Robert, I've discharged my fluid type of cough.
Robert. Oh, that's one thing I can say about my deep voice right now because of my sickness. Robert, I've discharged my fluid. Did you like that?
Not really, no. No, I sure didn't.
Well, I'm so sorry that you didn't, but somebody out there might.
Someone might.
I don't
Maybe
know who.
Perhaps Marcus. Perhaps
He
it'll
would.
be the Marcus.
I think he would like that a lot.
He should. So anyways, weird, interesting beginning to this podcast, but like, when is it not ever? So, I have a story time really fast because it's kind of funny, and I did make a TikTok and a, what are they called on Instagram and Facebook? A reel. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you saw this already, so sorry. Just move along here. Anyways, longest story short. Why are you making that face?
Because I was fighting a cough.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the fuck is that face for? Longest story short, when we went to Smoky Mountain Terror, most of you, some of you, 12 of you, know that Annie had surgeries. Why are you laughing?
Because why'd you say 12 of you?
Because there's probably literally 12 people total that know this information.
Maybe. I don't know.
I
Anyway,
don't.
carry on.
Annie had surgery, okay, so her face is swollen. I think we talked about it a couple podcasts ago. I did try to show her face. That might be the video that we never posted for us. So one day, Saturday before Memorial Day weekend, her face swelled up eye to nose. I thought honestly that she got stung by a bee or some shit, or ate a bee, spider bite, something, right? Gave her Benadryl. Nothing happened. It actually got worse the next day. On a Saturday, called the vet. They said, drop her off. We're booked full. Drop her off. We'll squeeze her in when we can. What is that? Cough drop?
Yeah, it's a cough drop.
Disgusting. They taste bad. So vet looked at her. Not our normal vet, just whoever was available that day. He said she probably has an abscessed tooth. My surgery day is Thursday. I was like, sick! I'm going to fucking Tennessee on Thursday. That's fun for me. So, my lovely parents took my dog. She got surgery. Brought her home. She was fine. She had a great surgery. Thing is, they pulled 2 of her teeth. The little swelling spot on her face. All the swelling went down, but it looked like she was smuggling a blueberry in her mouth. That was still there. The little blueberry type spot. And they said at the time, it wasn't her tooth. She had a cracked tooth and a broken tooth. That's what they removed. It wasn't her tooth. They said there was no abscess. They put saline in there. Nothing came out her mouth, nose, or eye. So they didn't know what it was. So, lo and behold, this thing hasn't gone away. In fact, it got bigger, actually. So, it went from, like, blueberry to grape. So, I called the vet on Tuesday. And I was like, hey, she had surgery almost 2 weeks ago. Swelling on her face, still there, hasn't gone away, getting slightly bigger. They said text us pics. We'll have Dr. I'm not gonna say his name on the podcast. Sorry, actually, but they said they'll have him look at it. He's our normal vet, and that was his surgery day. So she said it might take a day or two. I'm like, cool, whatever, okay. So I sent him pics. Next day, I have a doctor's appointment. So my mom watches my dogs. My mom, I called her after work on the way to get all my prescriptions I just mentioned. And she's like, hey, Annie's face is getting worse, actually. So now it's back up to her eye again. It's like, it looked like 2 grapes, like side by side almost. Like, it was weird. So the vet did call me. I missed his call because I was at work. And they called him back. And he didn't call me back yet. So I texted them the new photos. And I was like, hey, I did miss his call. I've sent him a new, I called back, left him a voicemail also. Because he said he figures he knows what it is, but he had questions. Sent him new photos. He calls me 6:30 at night. He's like, hey, I just saw your new photos. Pretty much answered all the questions I have, so here's the deal. At the time they did the x-rays, no abscess. He's like, I wouldn't have even pulled a tooth, to be honest with you. But if you start playing with the contrast of the x-ray, there is a faint shadow on one of her teeth, which was probably at the time the beginning of an abscess, which is now fully abscessed. So she has to go back for surgery. Next Tuesday's his surgery day. He said, here's the thing. I need her on medications right now. He's like, we're closed, obviously. You know where the clinic is. In the back of the building, there's a garage door. Near that's another door. Near that's a recycle bin. I'm going to put your meds on the bin for you to come get tonight. I was like, okay. And so we keep talking about her situation. He's not going to charge me for more x-rays, blah, 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 whatever, right? Finish the conversation. He's like, okay. So, in the back of the clinic. And I was like, yeah. He's like, there's a garage door. I'm like, yep. He's just reiterating the story, right? But he's being so serious about it. He's like, if you walk up to that garage door, to the left of it, there's a man-sized door. I said, cool. He said, to the left of that, there's a black recycle bin. I said, okay. He said, I will put your meds in a bag, a grocery-style bag, like a Walmart-style bag.
What the fuck?
I will put your meds in this bag, and I will put them on this recycle bin. I said, okay. He then repeats it all again. Very serious, very matter of fact, very in-depth, okay? So I'm like, got it. Locked and loaded, wrote it all down on the back of a paper, full instructions. I'm ready to go. I now have a side quest. I now have a mission. I have a satchel. I have 50 XP. I have 3 full lives. I am ready to defeat the level boss. We're hopping fucking barrels. What's happening? Do I bring a sword? Do I bring a gun? Let's fucking go, okay? Full on side quest unlocked. Let's get it, right? Scavenger hunt, locked and loaded, okay? So, my dad also had to go drop off his extra vehicle at the mechanic, which is near my house, to get worked on. My parents were going to do that. I was like, listen, bro, I'll just meet you over there. You drop off the car, hop in my car, go on this side quest with me. He's like, cool. He gets in. I was like, we got to go on the scavenger hunt. I hand him the list of our instructions. He was like, oh, dang, like, you really wrote it all down. I was like, yeah, I'm prepared. Like, the way he told this to me, like, it's going to be a full-on, like, where are these meds at type of situation, right? So imagine the hell of a disappointment when I turned that side corner of that building and Don goes, oh, there they are. I audibly went, huh? Like, I was fully prepared. I was ready for this challenge. And then it was just that easy. That easy. I was like, aw. I wanted a mission. I wanted it to be a puzzle. I was ready to, like, Dawn said mash the buttons, like, left, up, down, left, right, jump. I was, like, ready to go, man.
And it was just there.
There. I was like, oh.
It's like,
poop.
Fuck.
I literally, I was like,
oh, fuck.
Like, he should have at least put it in the lid, so it would have been more, of a challenge. But no, it was just, here they are. I was taped to the fucking bin, my name and address on them and everything.
Like, fuck, okay.
Super obvious. I was like,
that's fun.
The way this man described this to me, I thought it was going to be a whole fucking thing. So then I'm talking to my friend about it, and she's like, you know damn well he explained it that way because somebody somewhere was like, hello? Where are my meds? I can't find them. I'm like, yep. It was really that. It was like, skeet, there they are. All right, fuck it.
Yeah, there's definitely somebody somewhere that's,
The disappointment, man. It was sad.
Yeah.
Anyways, Annie's on meds. Her swelling is going down. She's doing great. She's going to get checked out again on Tuesday. We love that. When a vet sends you on a side quest, ends up kind of disappointing sometimes. It's fine. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways. That was the most excitement I had all week. What about you?
I've had no excitement, honestly. Ever since like Pinhurst and Smoky Mountain Terror, I've been kind of like in a depression because I'm like, oh, like, I mean, I have Alaska to look forward to. I don't even know if I've mentioned it on this podcast, but I'm going to Alaska at the end of August. Yes, thank you, Duchess. But yeah, that's gonna be a great time. I'm very excited about it, but like, we're going with family, and like, I don't know, like, I don't have any friend trips left for this year, so I'm just kind of like, oh, like, so I've been kind of like sad and like mopey and depressy, but like, I've also been watching a lot of queso. What's new? I've just been like watching like wherever my little body starts to just loaf, and I'm just like, yes, so that's the epitome of my excitement. I think literally today was the first day I got out of the house since Sunday, and that's not good for your soul. Like, it really isn't. Like, you have to make yourself do things. I think that's the hardest thing about, like, if you work from home or you're just like whatever, getting out of the house is essential. Otherwise it's just gonna all go down from there. I'm just saying, word of advice, it's not all sunshine and flowers and rainbows, that's for sure. But yeah, I went to the post office, the grocery store, and the gas station. Great times. Awesome times.
Productivity, we love it.
Yeah, so did that, and then tomorrow we're doing a cookout. Actually, I'm making my homemade chicken Alfredo. So, chicken tortellini Alfredo. It's super delicious. Oh my gosh. I love homemade chicken tortellini Alfredo. So good. Oh. Um but yeah, that's it. That's the extent of my excitement. Did something happen that I don't know? No, like, am I forgetting something? I don't think so. I don't think so. That's it.
Found out that I'm going to a Renaissance fair 4th of July weekend.
Oh, whoa. Like, is it in Wyoming or or Colorado?
No, bro. Yeah, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I am excitement. I wish that the Pickle Priest came out this far, though.
I know.
Have you also seen Jacques the Whipper?
No.
Jacques the Whipper?
No.
Yeah. Actually, I think he was in Colorado last year. I might have to look him up and see.
Oh my gosh. Hopefully so. I don't know who it is, but for your sake, I hope so. I know the Pickle Priest is in like New York, New Jersey, but it would be so great if he could just travel down a little bit lower and in October come to the North Carolina Renaissance Festival. Because I would so go for that. Oh my God. I love Renfests. They're so great.
We could totally go see Crispin Riley and go find the Pickle Priest.
Oh my God. Okay. Next year, it's all planned. We take a month off. That would never happen. But let's imagine, okay? Okay, we go see Chris and Riley. And we definitely go to the New York or New Jersey Renfest so we can meet this Pickle Priest. Do you understand if we walked up to the Pickle Priest how hard I would fangirl? Like, I would go completely mute. You want to know why? Because I always do. But I would just go completely mute. I'd be like,
bro, he would fuck with you so hard. Like, you would probably get a nipple pickle.
Yeah.
He'd probably splash some juice on you.
I hope so. I want that to happen.
Dude, my whole For You page right now is Marcus and Pickle Priest. That's it. And that stupid song. I ain't got no panties on.
Dude, okay, I finally have moved. Okay, so speaking of that song, you know how like sometimes you get a song stuck into your head? Well, I'm here to tell you all that if you want to know what was in Madeline's head the entire weekend we were at Smoky Mountain Terror, it was that song. I ain't got no panties on.
Mine
ain't
too.
Got no panties on. I ain't got no panties on the dance floor. I'm like, can this song? I would hear it in my sleep. I would hear it when I was on another planet. I would hear it when we were watching the panels.
Listen, the panels. I would wake up like with that song playing in my head.
Me too.
I ain't got no panties on.
Just consistent. It was just like
on the dance floor.
On replay in my brain, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
We were gonna make a TikTok, and we didn't.
We didn't make not a single damn TikTok, and we
had
2 trips.
We were gonna make that TikTok actually specifically. We were going to do that one.
Yeah, I actually had a whole bunch of TikToks, like TikTok sounds backlogged for us to do between Pinhurst and Smoky Mountain Terror, and guess what? We never did it. And probably never will, so it's fine.
It's because we were too busy watching Big Bang Theory and WWE with no sound on, so.
Dude, if you thought WWE with no sound on was crazy, imagine it with sound, okay? Like,
I don't know if I could have handled that, to be honest with you.
Dude, WWE, like, I think it's so funny that you never saw WWE because that was such a big part of my life as a kid. Like, it was like, what was it? Like Saturday Night Raw, the Friday night. Was it Friday, Saturday, and Tuesdays or something? Like, something was SmackDown. I don't know. You know, John Cena was actually religiously on WWE at when I was a kid. And, you know, The Rock, he was on WWE. That's where he got his start. And he used to say, smell what The Rock is cooking. And he would like, boom. And I did that to my dad one time because, you know, well, I guess I foreshadowed the future. So, Oh,
Sick.
and what's it called?
Ooh,
Oh my
she's short
God.
circuiting.
What's it called? Oh my God. RKO. Randy Orton. You literally like take somebody around the neck and go boom. Imagine on the trampoline, like baby Mads and her baby brothers just doing RKO on each other consistently for hours on the trampoline. Like it was just consistent. It was like RKO, boom. We did it to everybody, not just each other. Anybody that decided to jump on our trampoline in our neighborhood, boom, RKO. It was the best thing ever. Anyway, the
Bro, meanwhile, we didn't have a trampoline. One of our neighbor kids did. Our thing was riding bikes, and we would always pretend our bikes were horses or something, and then we would name them. Yeah.
Well,
or sometimes we would be like, we have dinosaurs! And then we'd be like, what dinosaur do you have? And then I'd be like, I'm riding a velociraptor.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh my
Dinosaurs
God.
and horses.
Can I briefly tell you this one situation before we get into the episode?
I'm gonna blow my nose.
Okay, go ahead. So when I was a kid, my best friend, who is actually coincidentally my neighbor, she had a bicycle that was low riding, and it was meant to be a Harley Davidson bicycle. Okay, it had like the nice seat, and like the handlebars were like all the way out here. It was a crazy experience. So I loved riding on that bike. It was hard to ride up a hill, which I lived on the top of a hill. And I just remember stealing her bike one day and like riding it like a motorcycle, having one of my parents' sunglasses on. And I had my little High School Musical MP3 player that played Candy Shop. And I was like, I'll take you to the candy shop. I thought it was the hottest. And here's the thing, guys. Like, you have to know, too. My parents were, like, motorcyclists, and her parents were, too. So they all had, like, my mom didn't have a motorcycle. She rode with my dad. But her parents, my best friend's parents, they each had a motorcycle, and we would go ride them sometimes. So I knew what I was doing. I was like, I thought I was hot shit, bro. I was going through pedaling with my little Harley Davidson bicycle that wasn't mine. And I was just like, take you to the candy shop.
I'll let you lick the lollipop.
That's a core
You're like
memory.
7 singing that song, not even knowing what it means.
The funny part is it being on the MP3 player.
Dude, me with It Wasn't Me by Shaggy.
Dude, that song. What's another one? There's so many. Oh, Lollipop. That was another one. And my mom was like, yeah, you don't know what it is, so I'll just let you listen to it. I don't care.
Nice.
So, whatever.
Bro, sorry, Mom, when you hear this, but I'm out in your ass right now. But my mom would drive us to school, middle school, okay? Literally 6th and 7th grade. We'd be blasting hotel room service and porn star dancing. Brother,
yeah, dude.
Porn star dancing. And we'd be like, porn star dancing. Like, getting out the car.
Dude, oh my God, that song and You Give Love a Bad Name. Oh my God. Dude, we were blasting that shit. My parents were, I don't know, like, how your parents were, but mine were the kind of parents where, like, they were 80s and 90s, like, rock. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up on, like, Bon Jovi, AC/DC, Def Leppard, Aerosmith, like, all that kind of shit. And it was, like, the hardest shit ever. Like, I thought I was so cool listening to that. I was like, yeah. And then my dad was a biker too. Are you kidding? Metallica. I thought I was so cool.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I thought I was bad shit when I was listening to Whiskey in a Jar.
Whiskey in a Jar?
Do you know that song? You don't know Whiskey in a Jar?
I don't think so.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
No. I have a lot of...
man. I thought I was so cool, man.
Oh my God.
What's the coolest
What's that
kid
song?
ever?
Oh my God. Who's it by? Is it Nickelback? It can't be Nickelback. Maybe it was. That song that goes, you look so much cuter with something in your mouth. Do you know that song?
No.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't know.
Whiskey in the Jar by Metallica. Yeah.
Sick. Yeah. Snap.
Sure.
I'm going to send mine to you. Because that shit. Crazy, dude. That should have never been played near me.
Do you know a song? It's not actually like bad or anything. I just like really like the vibe of it. A Warrior's Call.
No. It is
Oh my
Nickelback.
gosh.
I should have known.
Warrior's Call. Did you ever listen to like Divorced Dad rock playlist? It's so fun. I love those playlists.
Dude, remember we played it on the way back from Smoky Mountain?
Sure. Divorced Dad rock? I know. I think we talked about it, but we never made it that far because we were listening to depressive country songs.
You want to know what's even funnier to conclude this whole segment? Is that my dad, when my parents split up, he was listening to all of those songs. And it's so funny because he would be listening to like, what's that song? Far Away. And he'd be like, far away. And like, you could see, there was one time I remember looking over at him and he had like tears in his eyes. I was like, and I'm sitting there like my emo 13-year-old self, and I had my headphones in and I was like,
get a grip, dude.
What's that about?
Yeah, like, get a fucking grip, guy.
Oh man, bless it. Anyway,
so on to actual business. We are covering part 2 of Project Farrar School.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said it like that at all.
Oh no, and in traditional fashion, I forgot to pick my favorite moment and favorite evidence. I told myself.
Bold of you to think that you get to go first this time.
No, I know. You went first the last time, but I'm glad you're going first. Yeah, you did. No, I went first the last time. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Because I don't want to go first because I don't even know what I have.
Okay, my favorite evidence is actually super like
no, or favorite not evidence, moment.
Sorry. I know, that's what I meant to say. Calm down. Cheese and biscuits. My favorite moment is so I don't know. It's just, you're gonna be like, that's your favorite moment? Are you fucking serious right now? But I thought it was funny, so.
Okay.
Okay, so I think it was when, so Tanner, okay, so we went Connor first, right? And then Alex, okay, and then Tanner, right? So it was when Tanner was in his spot. And it was actually the moment we were looking at all the rest of the crew, and they were talking about like Chelsea. I am so sorry, that one snuck up on me. Chelsea was talking about it was her and Dak that were left, right? And she was like, the only challenges left are mine and Alex's. And then she's like, I didn't put the boiler room. And they were like, Al, did you put the boiler room? And he just does this like evil little smirk. And they zoomed in. Oh my gosh, I can't words. They zoomed in on him. And I just thought it was really funny. So yeah.
That's actually a good one. I actually do like that one a lot.
It was so subtle, but it was just like really quick. But I was like, ha! That's such a fucking Al thing, because he was just like,
yeah, he's so devious, dude.
I know.
I think mine has to be when it was right after Alex said that, like, when he was a kid, that his teacher used to like duct tape him to his desk one time because he wouldn't stop getting out of his seat. And Chelsea goes, well, detention is a great place to sit and reflect and think about what you've done. And Alex goes, who said that? It sounds like a bitch.
I know. He's like, I can't see. There's a flashlight in my eyes. Yeah. Like, I was like, oh.
That's so
what
funny.
A dick. It was funny, actually. I like that one.
What's that? It sounds like a bitch.
A fucking bitch, homie. That's something you and I would do.
No, 100%.
Oh my gosh, is Al Fear Babes coded?
He is.
That's so funny.
You already know. You
okay.
already know.
I'm trying to pick my favorite evidence because there's a couple of spots actually. Okay. I have to talk about two things because it kind of corresponds, right? But I'm just looking for the actual moment so that I get some of my facts correct. Okay. When Dak was alone, Z's, right? He went last, okay? He was on the second floor. He had the PS device. He said, should I be on the second floor right now, or is there somewhere else you want me? And it said wire. And then he was talking about, when you say wire, do you mean the boiler room? And it said way. And he was like it wants me to go that way. And it said touch foot. But then actually the evidence part, where it becomes my favorite evidence, is at the end when he was in the boiler room and he went into the circle like a fucking psychopath. And then the crew came down and got him out, and Chelsea pointed out, she's like, you put your foot in the circle and it literally told you to do that earlier. And he was like, oh, I forgot about that. Like a dummy.
It's like foreshadowing.
I found that very interesting, actually. So
yeah, can we actually briefly talk about that before I get into my favorite evidence?
Yeah, or do you want to bring it back up in honorable mentions? You probably don't want to lose your train of thought. Yeah, just do it now.
I hope I remember. Well, okay, so here's the thing. So what I thought was so big sister coded of Chelsea was she looked to like Tanner and Alex and Connor, and she's like, if he even thinks about like stepping in that circle, we're going to go down there and interfere, right? And they were all like, yes, absolutely, we're going to. Which, W team for that, because, like, dude, we got people out here doing shit for the content. Not going to name drop, but you know who. And letting things, like, get too out of hand. So, I'm so glad that they, like, interfered, because obviously, like, something seemed to be off. Like, with Dakota, like, he just seemed weird. And even after the fact, I don't know if you paid any attention to this, but after they were done with the night, Dakota looked so like drained suddenly. Mm-hmm. It was so strange. Like his eyes looked like they just like almost like he'd been crying, but like I don't know how to explain it. Like not crying, but like something to that effect.
Even back to like when you said W team for that though, like it was like the moment his foot like started hovering, they were like boom, gone.
Yeah, Chelsea
like, they didn't even let it sit. They didn't even let it sit for more than a second. Like obviously it took him a minute to get down there.
Yeah.
But like the moment he started, they were like nope, and they like fucking took off. Like it's not like wait, let's see what happens. You know? Right.
Yeah, Chelsea.
They were like fuck that shit.
Chelsea literally goes no, and she was like honestly. Like how she reacted kind of shows just how real that moment was. Like, you know how it is, because we're both big sisters. Like, we're totally, like, if that were my little brother, I would have totally done the same thing, because I'm not about to let you do something like this. Like, it goes against what we believe in, but also, like, for your mental and, like, physical health, we're not doing this. Like, this is something with that shit. Like after all the evidence they had the entire night, which we're gonna get into in the honorable mentions, but it's like it was just crazy, and I'm just so glad that they all interfered. I'm glad that was like something that they all agreed upon. You know,
even more so too though, like when they got down to him, and like you could see the concern on like. I was watching all of them, but it was like really Tanner and Chelsea were like in the forefront of like all four of them. Like you could see it on their faces. Like they were like, what are you doing? Like stop, like right now. Just like, no, like we don't do this. Like this is too much, too far. And so, yeah.
Also,
I thought that was cool.
I had another thought that I want you to remind me of. It has to do with handcuffs when we get to honorable mentions.
Is it dirty?
No.
Then I don't want to talk about it if it ain't dirty. Fuck off.
It's not. But
get the fuck out of here.
Someone's like spicy. You got OnlyFans? Drop the link.
Diesel, did you hear that?
Yeah. I can hear him. He's like, ooh. That just is asleep now. So she's so cute. Okay. So my favorite evidence. Well. Glad you asked. I'm gonna tell you.
Diesel asked for me, actually.
Oh yeah, WD's, because you know, he's
tell us.
Yeah. So first of all, they used two new pieces of equipment at this location. The one that I found to be the most chilling though is the dead bell. And when Chelsea went to her location, which was the boiler room again for her challenge, Dakota went ahead and set up the dead bell. And it's kind of like the music box in the REM pod in the sense that if it detects something around it, it'll go off, right? So pretty much that whole series of like like not the entire thing, but a lot of when Chelsea was down there in the boiler room alone, that is my favorite evidence because she was getting like, I don't know how to explain it, but when that bell goes off, there is something like so eerie about it. It's worse than the fucking music box.
I would have cried, bro.
Dude,
I would have just been like, no.
Like, I
Get
thought
me
the
outta here.
music box was bad. Like, I don't know if maybe in time, if they consistently use this dead bell, if it'll get better for me. But like, I've gotten so used to the music box that it doesn't faze me anymore like it used to. But when Chelsea asked the question, she said, if you are here, can you go close to that bell? And then it goes off like right after that. And I just got chills, dude. I was like, oh, like, I don't know what it is. I'm kind of weird when it comes to like bells sensory wise. 'Cause like, I don't know what it, like, again, I don't know what it is, but it's like, if you grow up going to church, like you hear church bells ring and stuff like that, and there's just like this connection to it in my brain when I hear a bell that just kind of gives me chills, not in a good way always, but like it was just, I don't know, I didn't like it. No, take it away. But that was just an example of one of the things, because it kept going off. Went off quite a few times, and the lights actually didn't go off as much as it did in the last episode that we reviewed. Go check out the last episode that we reviewed from last week.
Bro, your smile be kind of creepy right now, actually.
I know.
That was fucking nuts.
I did that on purpose. But yeah, like for instance, she said, can you make these lights go off? And the bell went off again. Can you ring that bell if you're scared to come over here? The bell rings. So we're both scared of the portal, and then the bell didn't ring. So like that whole series of events, it was just so chilling. So all of that, favorite evidence.
Right.
Both show. Honorable mentions.
Yay. So I actually want to talk about, there's a couple of subtleties in this episode that I kind of enjoyed. Sometimes I like to watch from like, I don't know, call them different perspectives, if you will. But just for fun, because I'm weird, I don't know. So Connor, when he was in room 205, right, originally the crew thought that they saw a shadow on one of the chairs behind him, right? And they end up debunking it. But when I talk about subtleties, what I mean is Project Fear has always kind of been about like experiencing what they experience, right? And so they always have this same chime that they use every time there's like a unexplained motion. It's like or whatever it does, you know? Do you know what I'm talking about? And so what I liked about it is that they had it go off when we first saw it, like it was like just happening, you know, and they end up debunking it. But the point I'm trying to make is that they left it in a way that we're experiencing it the way they experienced it. It wasn't like we see it and they're like, we immediately debunk this, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's like they let it sit for a minute, and then when they figured it out is when we figured it out.
Right.
So I just thought that was kind of cool.
I think that kind of goes into somewhat of what I was going to try to hit at, because if you guys don't know, sometimes I like to scroll the Project Fear Reddit and see what people are saying about the episodes, because since we no longer do guests on the pod for reasons of which we will not go into.
Oh, sorry. Did I make a face?
No, I didn't see if you
I
did.
I 100%.
I didn't see if you did, but so
I'm just being a shit. Go for it.
But basically, I like to go and read fan reviews because, you know, whatever. So I saw a lot of hate in the first part, And actually with this one, now that I think about it, I have to keep reminding myself that we're a week behind. So I read this last week when the episode actually came out a week ago today. So a lot of people were talking about how the crew are faking evidence. If that's the case, why would they leave in debunking? Because think about it like this. Like they left in, there was like 2 or 3 times that they did that between these 2 episodes, right? Where they were like, oh, that's not exactly that. And, you know, like I feel like they actively, like in the past as well, have always tried to debunk things because they want to make sure that what they're putting out to us is authentic. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they also try to like, if something happens that they can't explain, they still try to like rationalize it too.
Yeah.
Like they're always like, it could be this, like I don't know, it might be this, but still that's kind of weird. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's usually how they explain it out.
And unlike other paranormal shows, like what we've discussed on our podcast before, is that like they leave it up to the audience to decide what they believe it, like if it was truly X scenario or if it could be debunked. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and if it's actually debunkable though, they actually share that information.
exactly.
Like
so,
if it's matter of fact, we know it wasn't paranormal, they actually share it.
Exactly. So I had also read too, like I think, you know, like I don't think that they necessarily like care about the bad comments. I think it gets to everybody at some point. I know it does us. But like there was something somebody said where they were like, oh, it was the handcuffs. That's where I was going with this. Sorry, my bad. No edits. You get to see the wheels turning live. So the handcuff situation. So they introduced at Farrar a gift that they were given by a fan at a Paracon, where it's like a die that has all these different things. It's like no flashlights, handcuffs, whatever else, okay? And it gives the crew an option to like roll the dice, and the dice decides what happens, right? Well, all of them, coincidentally enough, all got handcuffs. Like I saw that. I'm sure you saw that. Duh. Anybody with eyes saw that, but then like on the Reddit post, people were like, I'm so tired of them doing the handcuffs. I'm so tired of them
That's
doing
what
the
the
handcuffs.
fucking dice said.
I'm
dude.
like, what does that even mean? Like, sometimes though, like that's how some people are though, is that like all of that aside, my own personal feelings aside, like you have to like look at these things logically. I know that that's hard for some people, but you really have to look at it with some sort of logic in you to be like, okay, this isn't my favorite thing ever, but like they tried to do it in a fair way, so I get why it happened this way. Instead of being
they
like,
even debunked the dice. Like they're like, is it loaded? Because
Yeah.
they were like, everybody's getting handcuffs. They rolled it again, not handcuffs.
Yeah.
So
they even
I don't
showed
know.
it on like all the sides too, like.
You can't make everybody happy, man. It is
And
what it is.
so it was just one of those things where I'm like, you know, that really sucks that you feel that way. A lot of people were mad that Sam and Colby were in it for like, I don't know, 45 seconds. I don't even know how long they were.
Not there was just part one. It wasn't even both episodes.
I know. And so I was
God.
like,
People are
golly.
picky.
Well, what I was
Shit.
trying to get at is that like if you don't, like if you've already made your decision, and I think that we can agree with this in our personal life, that if you've already made the decision that you don't like something, you're going to look for everything possible to like kind of give you that confirmation that you're right in your decision. So it's like being very nitpicky in every little thing. Like Dakota could have like sneezed wrong and they would have been like, see, he's acting like he's possessed. Or like whatever else, you know what I'm saying? Like people have been saying that kind of shit for the longest time. And you know, like whatever.
People are
but
silly.
Looking,
That's silly billies.
I wanted to share that because it's like I'm hoping somebody out there like listens to this and kind of just takes a breath and is like, okay, yeah, maybe maybe I should look at it this way instead of another way. I know you can't do that for everyone, but just hoping, you know.
Got news for you, Mads. If they ain't liking Project Fear, they ain't liking us. So.
Well, that's true.
Okay, another thing. This is so random. I don't know if you noticed. I think it was Tanner, but I don't know. But when they were leaving Connor, somebody pat him on the top of the head. They were like,
no, I didn't notice that.
and when it just showed the body, it didn't show like who it was. I think just because of like Tanner was on that side of him walking by. I think it was Tanner, but it could have been any of the guys. But I just thought it was funny. They were just like, bye.
I will say one thing that I liked is that there was a lot of consistency throughout these two episodes at Farrar, where separately they were coming to the same conclusions, and I thought that was very interesting.
That was cool.
I'm trying
all the
to
evidence
find,
tied together.
yeah, like I'm trying to find a specific example, but there were things, a lot of things that like Alex was saying that Chelsea would say as well, and without even talking to him. Like I thought that that was interesting.
It's cool when that stuff happens because it kind of like validates what's going on in a sense.
Yeah.
I have something to say while you're looking if you.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I also thought it was I'm still on the Connor piece of it all. I literally haven't left the first page of my notes yet. I found it interesting that Connor kept mentioning that he had like 4 layers of clothes on, and the handcuffed around all 4 layers of clothes kept feeling cold to him.
Yeah.
So
Alex also mentioned that.
he was cold, yeah.
Yeah.
He got cold.
I thought that was
But yeah,
interesting too.
Connor was like specifically, he's like, I have 4 layers of clothes on and I can feel the handcuff being cold.
So strange. And you know what too is that when Chelsea was in her location, something was messing with the handcuffs in the boiler room as well, because she kept saying it feels like something's like tugging
Pulling them.
or like moving her chain. It was so creepy. But I also wanted to bring up while we're at that is that this was so chilling too. When Chelsea was literally having like a conversation, she was getting pretty consistent responses through the PS device, and she asked the question, "What do you need?" Human came through, and right after that, like those little lights came on. What is it? Tripwire? Is that what they were calling it?
Yeah.
And Tanner goes in the camera room, or like, you know, the gear room, that it felt like it was trying to say come into the portal, because prior to that it was saying it was trapped, and they were like getting, like she was getting all these weird responses. And then Chelsea also said herself, she's like, there's some entity here that needs some kind of vessel to do more. And that's actually what Alex had said earlier on in that episode. So that kind of leads back. It's like the crossover, the bridge into what I was saying just before.
Did you mute? Okay, because I was like, the sound just like straight up stopped out of nowhere. It was weird. I feel like it was kind of interesting. Al forgot his flashlight. It wasn't even part of his challenge. But
Yeah, it was.
He had the PS device with him. And I think it's interesting too that both Al and Dak kind of took a taunting route with this soul situation, because we don't usually see them try to taunt things, you know. But like Al was saying that he was wearing a cross and he's protected, they all are, and then it said it was wrong, and then he's like, can you do something big if you're so confident? Why are you afraid to show yourself, you know? And then it said allow and everything, and that was weird. But then it said stigmata, which was interesting, because like they looked that up, and that ended up being, it's like bodily wounds or scars that are in the same locations as the crucifixion of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then also kind of like on the topic of tying evidence without kind of tying evidence also, it's weird that it kept using big words that we never like see these devices use ever, because Dakota also got Legion later on, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's actually another thing I saw on Reddit, is that somebody said that how are the crew Christian when they don't know what stigmata is? I can confidently say I grew up in the church. I have stated that multiple times. I am still a very religious Christian, and I didn't know what stigmata was off the top of my head. So,
yeah. It's like, you know, there's certain things that, like, you don't use that all the time. Like,
yeah.
So for your brain to remember things, it has to be repetitive. Like,
and also there's different.
That's with anything in life, though.
There's
like,
also different denominations, like within like a church, and there's Catholicism, which I don't know, but I feel as though it's probably more often used in Catholicism. As a Baptist, Southern Baptist, born, raised, still am, never, that was never discussed. There's a lot of things, actually, believe it or not, that are not discussed in the church. So remember that whole, like a couple episodes I was talking about Sheol? That's never been discussed in the church, but it is in the Bible. So not going to know everything.
Well, and not to go down this whole rabbit hole or whatever, but I'm just going to say, like, who is anyone to tell anyone how to believe or how there should religion, or, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's different, and everything, not what works for you doesn't work for somebody else. So just like,
exactly.
Whatever. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Just like the last,
but I'm just saying,
the last thing I'll say is, just like you shouldn't put one group of people in one little box.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that, because not everybody is the same. So, whoa, wild concept. I know. I just, whoa.
I wasn't put on this earth to fit in a box. So
yeah, word.
Do you have another honorable mention?
Let me just say, like, to conclude, like, my portion of my honorable mentions is that, like, I'm not going to ignore the elephant in the room and say that this episode was, you know, a great episode for me. It wasn't fun to watch. I've stated this before. Obviously, when they went to the Ancient Ram Inn, we were very opinionated on that topic for obvious reasons, and all of those reasons, it's already been stated. I still stand by that, and I stand by that at this location. I would encourage them to not go back. I know that they have Sam and Colby as their personal friends, and they own the location, but if it were me, and as a friend, I'm extending this, please don't do that again. Don't go out there after you've gotten like all of that. Like, if you go to a location and it's you yourself are experiencing a dark entity, Dakota was clearly affected in a way that, you know, the others weren't, but they've each been affected before in other locations. I just encourage you not to go back, because when it gets to that level, I feel like it opens you up to like a worse time the next time you try to go, you know, like, and it's just better for your mental health to just not do that again. I know that that makes me sound like I'm a crazy religious person, but I'm telling you right now, I don't mess with that shit. And I'm glad that they have explicitly stated in this episode that they were uncomfortable. Like, they probably should have left, and they stuck it out, which kudos to you. But I would say, you know, maybe not again. I can't tell you what to do, obviously, but with all the evidence that they caught, it's definitely something dark and something that I don't think they should mess with further. So my personal opinion, what I said about Ancient Ramen kind of bleeds into this. So I'm standing by what I said. So this isn't like my favorite episode. Yay.
Couple more pieces of evidence I thought were interesting.
I say that and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I had a few more.
Like,
okay. Anyways.
Well, I just wanted to say that because I don't have anything else I wanted to say. So
yeah, so the part where this is it's kind of, again, kind of a little bit similar. So when Alex was alone and he was like, I just want to know what it is that's here, and it said shove, and then he's like, if you're gonna shove me, then do it, and it says unholy, and then the light above the crew started flickering. That was a little bit interesting. And then also when Tanner was alone, he says light is better than darkness, and then his flashlight started to dim. And he had mentioned that he had put brand new batteries in it before it all started, and then it kind of came back to full light not long after that. So that was interesting. Another one of the subtleties that I liked that they left in this episode was, okay, well, if I'm boring you, no, I'm just kidding.
No, not you.
No, that's why I said I was kidding.
I was fighting a cough.
I hate that, dude. When Jack went down to the boiler room, right before he walked into the boiler room, he did a quick prayer, and they left that in the episode. And I actually like that they left that in.
Yeah.
Like I said, just like little minor things that people probably don't even think about. But I was like, that's nice to see that he did that before walking into it. Because kind of back to what you were just saying, even, at least we know, like in part 1, she's like, I do not mess with this stuff. Like, she said that out loud. So they're leaving in aspects to let people know that they're like not totally okay with all of this either.
Exactly. And that is the difference between this and the Ancient Ram Inn, that like I'm not gonna go as like full hard on this episode, like on them, is because like they kept all that in. They weren't like actively trying to like ramp it up or try to like instigate it or do whatever. They were very much doing the opposite. So like not all bad. You know
they
what I'm
were
saying?
To me, it felt like they were just actively trying to get answers as to what was there, which is kind of like the point. But so exactly. I feel like there was aspects of them actively trying to make it a more of a comfortable situation, because they do, I think, are aware that certain things like the Ancient Ram Inn episode is harder on certain people to watch, which is, it is neither here nor there for anybody. We can choose not to watch these episodes. We don't have to watch them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We do it because we love Project Fear, and it is what it is. But so I did like the subtleties of all of that. Kind of to go along with what you were just saying, though. Like, I couldn't pay me enough to go to Farrar. I'm like, I don't even want to try to figure out any of that. Like, especially all of the similarities or similar evidence that they got. Y'all did it. I've seen enough. Like,
exactly. Yeah, that's kind of how.
Don't want to go anywhere near Farrar School. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they did a great job, like based off the evidence that they got, and like, they asked all the right questions, and I feel like it's clear based off their responses that this is an entity that to me, it seems like it's just one entity, which they repeated throughout both episodes, that they believed. And it has the power to manipulate
until they landed on Legion, and then they were like, now it all makes sense.
Yep. And it's just like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm done. Like, I feel like they did an excellent job in what they did. And seeing them go through that and like having to get those answers for like us as the viewers, like that's why I'm like, please don't do it again, because like not worth it.
I will tell you, even writing notes, like I'm writing this shit down because it's the evidence, and we're going to talk about it on our podcast, and that's what we do for this shit. But even sometimes writing some of this shit down, I'm like, I get uncomfy with it.
Me too.
I'm like, me too. I don't want to actively put that in my space. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, that's actually
more hand motions for you.
Like,
but
briefly, I've been seeing a lot of backlash. Now, I do want to preface this when I say this. I don't agree with everything Candace Cameron Bure says.
And don't even know who that is.
I can't say that I agree with all of her politics, everything that she believes in, but something that there's this clip going around this week that she was saying where she doesn't allow people or even herself to watch like horror films that are like, for instance, The Exorcist and like The Conjuring in her home, because she feels as though that could welcome something into her home. And I've been saying that for like the last 2 years, because it just does something in your soul if you're like watching films like that in your home. So that's kind of why I don't like watching these episodes in my home, because I'm like, what if I'm like unintentionally welcoming something in? And like that may sound crazy, but I don't think it's crazy at all. I think that we just don't know how the other side works, and I just rather would be safe than sorry. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, exactly.
even though I'm not Catholic, like when I was watching the episode last night and they were getting some of this crazy stuff, I was like, oh, God, please, like, protect this house, like, because that is just crazy work.
Yeah, it is. But I'm just, like I said, I'm glad to see that the crew does actively try to protect themselves, and they mention it so many times in this episode, and like we know that, and they've said that before, but it's like they left pieces of that in, and I think it's just because of, I'm not them and I don't know, and maybe whatever, but the severity of some of these situations, the subtleties of leaving that behind was a nice addition. In my personal opinion, people don't have to agree with that. You muted. I thought you did it on purpose. That's why I was like, at first I was like, yeah. Okay, so now it's my turn to take this fucking bitch out. No, I'm just kidding. It's so funny. For those of you who are just listening to the audio, you might have to go to YouTube to see Madeline's facial expressions here, because she muted and it's not working. There you go, you're back. Oh, yeah, we lost you again. Oh, I heard you slap your leg. I hear that. Yeah. Okay, well, yeah. Anyways, the more we talk, the more we lose our voices, so that's probably a sign, right? So, if you like this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe wherever you are listening to Fear Babes podcast. Also, follow us on all social medias at Fear Babes. Also, we have an Etsy. We have merch. We found more merch today, actually, that we will also post on the Etsy. I'm gonna stop looking at Mads. She's making me giggle over here. So now I can hear you, but your audio is not aligned with your video, and it's even worse. Okay, kids. That'll do it. We'll leave you there. And yeah. Mucho love. Rain or shine, me love you long time.